The Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 is happening soon. I cannot wait to learn more about this new console. But in the meantime, join me as we'll relive through the OG Switch's lifespan. This is part 5 of the retrospective, so make sure to watch the others as well. We are now in March of 2021, and well, this is a month where Nintendo kind of decided to take a break and reflect on their life. I don't know what they were doing, but they didn't release a single first-party game during that month. They did release 2 new characters for Smash Ultimate, Pyra and Mythra, so that's kinda cool, but that's about it. Third parties had to pick up the slack, and well, a couple interesting games were released such as Monster Hunter Rise and Overcooked. The first one is all about slaying giant monsters, and the second one is all about cooking some delicious food. I personally preferred the food game. No, but seriously, Overcooked is one of the best couch co-op games I've ever played. You have to work with your friends to stack up food, cook it, serve it, and it becomes this race against the clock. You don't want to burn anything or mess up the order or even forget some ingredients. It's very hectic, borderline frustrating, and can probably cause divorce. What's not to like? Apex Legends was also released on the Switch during that month as a free-to-play game. And well, it's a battle royale and it's quite fun. Just like Fortnite, the Nintendo Switch version kinda struggles to keep up with all of the frantic action, and you're better off playing it on any other platform. But if a Switch is the only thing you have, you'll still have some fun with it. On March 31st, Nintendo finally did the unthinkable and delisted Super Mario 3D All-Stars, making it unavailable on the eShop forever. The physical version started to get more costly, and I know some people actually bought a lot just to resell them on eBay later. This was sad, but not as sad as when Super Mario Bros. 35 was taken offline the same day. I'm still bummed out knowing that I'll never get to play that game ever again. The footage on screen is the only memory I have of it. Goodbye, old friend. April is here, and since we just got rid of a Mario Battle Royale, how about I introduce you to a Pac-Man Battle Royale? That's right, Pac-Man 99 is now out. And well, you get the gist. Just like Tetris 99 or Mario 35, you gotta play Pac-Man against 98 other people, and the game gets progressively harder until there's only one player left. It's actually quite fun, and well, I really want to like it. But I have a feeling that this one will eventually get delisted, so I don't want to get too attached to it, you know? I'm still not healed from the loss of Mario 35. New Pokemon Snap was also released during that month, and well, it's such a cozy little game. All you gotta do here is move on a rail and take pictures of some Pokemons you meet along the way. You can interact with them to try to get them to pose for you, and the better your photo is, the more points you get. It truly is a fun game, but it's not gonna revolutionize the world, you feel me? This one actually contains a bit more compared to the N64 version, with the inclusion of night rides, and there's more secrets to uncover if you want to go visit all of the different areas. All in all, this game was exactly what I wanted it to be, so I cannot complain. I liked it. A new color for the Nintendo Switch Lite was announced, and it's a purplish blue version. Super Mario Party will get an online update. Yup, it's that game from 2018. Why is it getting it now? I don't know. And that's pretty much all that happened that I cared about during the month of April. It is now May, and well, it's time to play Miitopia. Originally a 3DS game, it's now back in full HD for the Switch, and well, it's quite the interesting game. Basically, you have to save the world by defeating the evil Dark Lord who steals people's faces. In order to do so, you'll be recruiting a bunch of different characters, and you'll get to use the Mii's character creation tool to completely customize their appearances. This game is an RPG, and your Miis will take turns attacking enemies, and once they're defeated, your characters will keep moving, and you'll fight more enemies, and you'll keep moving, fight more enemies, keep moving, enemies, and eventually you'll beat a boss. And that's the game. Once you have cleared a few battles, your characters will rest at an inn, and you'll get to see some really cute cutscenes where they interact with one another, improving their morale and making them more powerful in the process. You'll also be able to buy and equip new weapons. And yeah, it's a fun game, but it is a game that can be played while doing something else, because it kinda plays itself most of the time. The real fun of Miitopia, well, at least according to me, is to check out and download funny characters online. I mean, I have a freaking Doritos Chips character. That should tell you about how serious I can be about this game. A lot of people have a lot of talent, and they created all sorts of crazy things, and since you have to customize dozens upon dozens of characters, well, being able to download them online is very appreciated. This is a very forgettable game, but I did have a lot of fun playing it. The two Famicom Detective Club visual novel games that were revealed earlier are finally out, and well, I don't know anything about them. Apparently they're actually decent, but I never played them. With Skyward Sword HD coming up soon, Nintendo dropped a little trailer unveiling a new Loftwing amiibo, and it actually looks really good. I do remember the reveal of this amiibo to be a little bit controversial though. Basically, in Skyward Sword, if you want to go from the ground to the sky, well, you have to go to one of these bird statues and then you can go up. But if you're using this Loftwing amiibo, you can do this from anywhere on the map. This saves a lot of time. So people were a bit upset that this new quality of life improvement was basically paywalled behind a plastic figure. And a costly one too. It was $25 at launch, which is like half the price of the dang game. And I can see why this upset some gamers. But hey, this wasn't the first time that Nintendo was paywalling game modes and features behind plastic figures. So I guess I got so used to being ripped off by Nintendo that it really doesn't bother me anymore. Some release dates were given for the next two Pokemon games, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Legends Arceus. And well, we'll see those games in November and in January of next year, so there's still plenty of time to go. A brand new game/tool was also revealed during that month, Game Builder Garage. Basically, this software is a tool that can teach programming without having to actually input some code. You'll be connecting nodes and objects, and if done correctly, well, you'll be able to create your very own game. It actually looks quite interesting, and I wonder how deep it can get, but I guess we'll see when it releases next month. Speaking of, it is now June, and well, it's typically E3 month. But this time around, E3 was an all-digital event. Nintendo had their typical E3 Direct, and this one was actually pretty good. They started off this presentation by literally killing Ganondorf and throwing him in a volcano. Well, that's a bit harsh, don't you think? This was not a new Zelda game, no. It is a reveal for the next Smash DLC fighter, Kazuya from the Tekken series. This dude seems to love killing people by throwing them off a cliff. Oh no, not Kirby! Oh, okay, he's good. Whew. A couple new games were revealed during that E3, including a new Monkey Ball game called Banana Mania. And I mean, it looks pretty good. A new Mario Party game was also unveiled, Mario Party Superstars, and this one is like a love letter to the whole franchise. It will bring back the best boards and minigames from all of the series. So yeah, very exciting news. I have a feeling that the Super Mario Party online update we got earlier in the year was just a stress test for this new game. The next game Nintendo unveiled was a total surprise, Metroid 5. Wait, what? They completely gave up on Metroid Prime 4 and went straight to 5? Nah, it is not the same series. It is a new 2D Metroid game following up the events of Metroid Fusion on GBA, and this one is called Metroid Dread. Man, does it look good! It actually looks very spooky too, with some of these monsters looking like they can one-hit kill you. I've never been the biggest fan of the 2D Metroid games, but I really enjoyed Super Metroid on Super Nintendo, so I am definitely going to pick this one up once it releases on October 8th. A new WarioWare game was also unveiled during the Direct, WarioWare Get It Together. And in this one, it looks like you'll actually control Wario and his friends in order to beat the micro games. This looks interesting, I suppose. A sequel to Mario plus Rabbids was also shown during the Direct called Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. And judging by what was shown, this is looking like a really good sequel. The movement and gameplay seems to be a bit different, now allowing you to move in a full 3D space instead of forcing you to move on a grid. And well, I really loved the first game, so I know I'm going to play this one as well. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp was also shown, and this is actually a remake of the Advance Wars games from the GBA era. I actually never played those games back then, so I cannot wait to give these ones a try. The game is set to release in December, so we'll have to wait quite a bit. Details were finally given on the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC that was previously announced, and it looks like we'll be fighting using a new Guardian Whip weapon, and we'll ride on the Master Cycle? Ho! This DLC will be released on June 18 of this month, while the second one will be out in November. I seriously cannot wait to play. A new Zelda Game & Watch console was also unveiled, and well, it's pretty much the same thing as the Mario Game & Watch that was released last year, except this one plays Zelda 1 and 2 instead of playing Mario. This direct ended with a trailer for the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and well, it introduced a couple new power-ups, like the ability to revert time, or to go through some ceilings and whatnot. The trailer also started with Link falling from the sky, revealing some new Sky Islands, probably meaning that the world of Hyrule will be expanded by adding the whole sky to explore. This was very exciting to see, and well, we didn't get a title or a release date, but that's okay, I can wait. I want the best Zelda game ever, so just take your time, alright? That was a very good direct, and it gave me great hope for the future of the Switch. As for the games I played during that month, well, I did play the brand new Mario Golf game, and well, it's Mario Golf. It's fun, but kind of limited. There's a new story mode, and just like the one from Mario Tennis, you get to explore a map, talk with characters, and gain levels and new abilities, which is kinda neat. There's a new game mode where you actually run on the green to go grab your ball, and the winner is the fastest golfer to put their balls in the hole in the least amount of shots. And while this mode is really fun, it wasn't enough to keep me interested. I barely played the game, and to be honest with y'all, I don't see myself giving it a second chance. I satisfied my nostalgia craving by playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2 Remastered for the Switch. And well, it's a Tony Hawk Pro Skater game. You skate around, perform epic tricks, and collect the letters SKATE hidden in the different levels. I had fun with it, but it just wasn't as good as my memory made it out to be. Game Builder Garage was the next game that Nintendo put out this month, and well, is it even a game? This software was more targeted at people that want to learn how to create their own games, but without having to write lines and lines of codes. It is a suitable introduction to the world of programming, explaining basic concepts such as conditions, and the game will make you think like a programmer would, but it is very limited. I did enjoy following the tutorials to learn to connect those different nodes and creating some games, but to be honest, once I was let free to create my own stuff, I just didn't know what to do with it. Thankfully, you can share your creations with everyone over the internet using some codes, and the Game Builder Garage subreddit is a great place to start if you want to see what people can create. I played a first-person version of Zelda on NES, and well, it's alright. I played a Mario Kart clone that was interesting for a few seconds. I played Pac-Man, Sonic, and a few scary games. Basically, you'll get to see a bunch of little gaming experiences and will also be able to share your own. I did enjoy the time I spent playing the game and creating basic stuff, but yeah, it gets old quickly. July is here, and well, the remake of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword came along with it. As I mentioned previously, the original Skyward Sword on the Wii didn't quite do it for me. The whole motion controls being mandatory were kind of a bummer, and they got old quickly. For that reason, I only played the game once, and never got back to it afterwards, which is a total tragedy, as I typically replay most Zelda games more than once. Thankfully, the HD version for the Switch does support button controls, using the right analog stick as a replacement to just swinging the Wiimote around. And well, I'm happy to report that it works great! This truly changed my opinion on the game, and well, I did play it from beginning to end and was actually a bit sad when I was done with it. To be clear, the game is not perfect, as it truly is one of the most linear Zelda games ever, where you are meant to beat the game in the order it is presented to you, and any attempts of slightly going off the path will be met with, well, nothing. There's a few side quests to complete here and there, but they are so basic they're not even worth going for. Thankfully, the dungeons and the different areas are interesting to explore, and they're well made, making this game a really decent Zelda experience. Oh, and they also released those amazing looking Joy-Con controllers the same day, and well, I'm an idiot, so I got them. I never used them though. I've been told the motion controls actually work way better in the HD version and that I should give them a try, but at this point I have accepted that using the analog stick is the superior way for me to enjoy it. Remember that Pokemon MOBA game they introduced last year during a Pokemon Presents? Well, it's finally here! Pokemon Unite! I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this game. I'ma be real with you, I played the game quite a lot and was officially addicted to it at one point. But it is so frustrating that I eventually had to let it go. It was driving me mad. Basically, it is a 5v5 MOBA game where you and your team must defeat each other, collecting some orbs, and you gotta destroy your opponent's goals with the orbs. It features tall grass to hide and ambush players, NPCs that you must defeat to gain boost and experience, different abilities, and also an ultimate attack that can crush your enemies. And there's even a big boss that appears in the last 2 minutes of the game, which, upon being defeated, basically guarantees your victory. And this was the most annoying part of the game to me. Like, each match is 10 minutes long, but I always felt like the first 8 minutes barely matter, as the way to win this game is to defeat that freaking legendary bird during the last 2 minutes. I stopped playing it, and I never looked back. You know what feels even better than not looking back? A brand new Nintendo Switch! Oh my gosh, is it the Switch Pro? Nope, it's actually the Switch OLED! Yup, this was a bit of a disappointment when it was shown, and basically it's just because of the rumors that had been going on for the past few months of a supposed Switch Pro console that would feature a better GPU and a faster processor and whatnot. Truth is, those were just rumors and they were never confirmed by anyone whatsoever. Anyways, now we have a brand new Switch model coming up, and it features a bigger and better looking OLED screen. Remember that little shitty kickstand from the original Switch model? Well, now the new revision will feature a wide adjustable kickstand. Incredible! Oh, and the dock is also slightly different and features an Ethernet port. It was hard to get excited by this model, especially considering I mostly play the games on my big TV, so the OLED screen just wasn't a selling point for me. But yeah, that was pretty much everything that happened during July. We didn't get a Nintendo Direct or a Pokemon Present, so yeah. Let's move on to August, and it's finally time to play No More Heroes 3, one of my most anticipated games of the year. It wasn't that good. Yeah, as a fan of this series, it crushes me to admit that this was by far the worst of the franchise. First off, what the heck happened to the graphics? Like, obviously, I know the Switch is a weak console, especially considering it's 5 years old at this point. But man, this game looks like shit! Especially after playing the remaster of the first game, you cannot help but feel like the third game is a huge downgrade. The story is weird and over the top and features aliens and whatnot, and that's cool, but the game no longer features levels to explore. No, it's just a bunch of boss battles, and in between them you mow the lawn and you do other chores to gather enough money to get to the next boss. They brought back the city exploring mechanic that was missing in the second game and added a few more areas to explore, but look at that frame rate, man! It looks bad and makes my eyes bleed! This game was very difficult to enjoy and finish, but I've done it, cause you know, at this point I had to, and well, I don't think I'll ever replay it. Fun fact, this game was originally exclusive to the Switch, but now you can play it on pretty much anything, PS5, PS4, PC, Xbox, and well, it looks way better and seems to have fixed the performance issues, but still, the damage is done. I'm never replaying that one. August didn't have a Nintendo Direct, but it did have a Pokemon Presents, and that one started by remixing last year's Pokemon Cafe Mix, and thus renaming it Pokemon Cafe Remix! Oh wow, they're so clever. This new update actually improves the game by adding new elements, new puzzles, and a new dress-up option. Wow, this is exactly what I dreamed of! Jokes aside, I never really got into Pokemon Cafe, but I'm glad it's getting such a big update. A new trailer for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was shown, and well, it looks okay. The game's coming out on November 19th, so the wait won't be too long. A Dialga and Palkia Edition Nintendo Switch Lite is also coming out in November, and well, it looks pretty good. Finally, they showed a new trailer for Pokemon Legends Arceus, and it reveals a bit more on the story, the gameplay, and what the game is all about really. And I'm not gonna lie, this hyped me quite a lot. Like, I was already sold on the concept of Pokemon Legends Arceus when it was first revealed last year, but now I'm actually super excited for it. Walking around big open areas, hiding in tall grass, catching every single Pokemon you see, that's the dream, man! The game also revealed that Pokemon could attack you in the wild, and that's sick! I mean, typically Pokemons fight together, but they don't attack humans. But in this game, oh, they can kick your ass. You'll be able to ride different Pokemons, explore new areas, and all of this when the game launches at the end of January. Not gonna lie, this became my most anticipated Switch game, and I couldn't wait to play it. It's now September, and you know this typically means that a new Nintendo Direct is right around the corner. Well, this year is no exception. The Direct started with the announcement of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, a DLC for the game. And well, I didn't play it, but I'm sure it's fun. You know what is guaranteed to be fun though? A brand new Mario Party game! Yup, here's more news about Mario Party Superstars. You know, that game that brings back classic characters, classic boards, classic minigames, all of that crammed into one big package? In a way, this is what I expected Mario Party the Top 100 to be, but this time, it's actually gonna be good. Oh, and it's coming out in October, so yeah, that's pretty soon. More details was finally shown on the second wave of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC, and I cannot breathe no more! A new story arc, new stages, new characters. This game never gets old. Give me all of the DLC, please! The final Super Smash Bros. Ultimate character will be revealed next month by Mr. Sakurai himself. And well, as this is just the announcement of the announcement, I'm not that excited yet. What did excite me was the next trailer that started off by showing a deserted world. Oh, okay. What is that? It looks kind of dark and spooky. Is that a new IP? No. It is just a brand new Kirby game. And this one is no Star Allies. It's a 3D Kirby game. Holy crap, it's happening! The Kirby formula was finally changed! This game truly excited me, as it reminded me of Mario 3D World, but with Kirby. It's coming out next year, so we'll discuss this one in due time. More content is coming up for Animal Crossing New Horizons, and we'll know all about it next month. Anyways, Mario Golf is getting more free characters and new additional courses, and it's getting all of this today. Yay, cool, I don't care. A new trailer for Metroid Dread was shown, and well, I'm super hyped for this one. The game's got a release date of early October, so that's neat. After that, Nintendo revealed that the Nintendo Switch Online membership program was now getting an expansion pack. Okay? Basically, N64 games and Sega Genesis games will now be available to play. That is, if you pay for that expansion pass. This was a very controversial announcement, because it now splits the membership into two different tiers, a basic and a premium one. I'm not sure I'm a fan of this new split, but hey, whatever. I can just decide not to subscribe. Oh my gosh, are those N64 and Genesis controllers exclusive to the expansion pack subscribers? What kind of suckers would fall for that trick and subscribe? Me! Deltarune Chapter 2 received a very odd trailer featuring a very cute dancing dog. And well, it's coming out today! Yay! Miyamoto then told us a little bit about an upcoming Mario movie that would be in theaters in 2022, featuring Chris Pratt as Mario, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, Charlie Day as Luigi, and Jack Black as Bowser. More gameplay of Splatoon 3 was shown during the direct, and well, it looks like Splatoon! The final announcement started with a trailer showing soldiers attacking a giant alien form, and well, that looked very weird. What can this game be? Oh, wait a minute. That slow motion effect. No, that can't be. Yes, it's Bayonetta 3, baby! Let's freaking go! Finally, this game had been in development for almost 4 years. It's good to finally see some gameplay. Man, that was a really solid direct. It had something for everyone. As for the games that came out during the month, well, WarioWare Get It Together was one of them, and well, it was fun, but very short. Like for real, I think I actually beat the entire game in one sitting. This took me less than 3 hours. Oof. Obviously, WarioWare games were never really long to begin with, but 3 hours is a new low. The game is actually pretty fun, but very different from previous games. You now control characters and have to move them around in order to complete the various micro games. They all move in different patterns, some being able to fly, some being able to jump, some teleporting, and learning to play those characters will decide if you win the micro games or not. This is a very unique idea, and it's actually very fun. The micro games are also as random as ever, and well, it was a pretty cool game. Speaking of, Sonic Color Ultimate also came out during September, and well, this one is alright. It's a port of the Wii version, but with better looking graphics. And while it's a good game, it just wasn't my favorite one. I tried to like it quite a lot, but after playing it for a few hours, I just lost interest and put it back on my gaming shelf. I know a lot of people say it's one of the best Sonic games ever made, but I don't know, man, I just don't see it. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot also came out, and well, here's another game I don't get. Fun fact, I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball, having read the manga multiple times, and I grew up playing games like Budokai on the GameCube and Budokai Tenkaichi on the Wii. But man, this one sucks! You move around the world and you collect orbs, and sometimes you fight random enemies using some of the most awkward controls ever? Just get this one out of here. October is finally here, and with it comes the brand new Nintendo Switch OLED with the bigger and better screen. Remember when I told you I didn't need one of those because I already have the OG Switch, and I also have the red Mario Switch, and I mostly play my games on the TV anyways? Well, guess what? I now own the freaking OLED. How stupid can I get? But seriously though, the difference is night and day. The colors are much more crisper on an OLED screen, and well, size actually matters. This console is really well worth the upgrade. Metroid Dread also came out during that month, and wow is this game fun. It's everything that you enjoy about Metroid, you know, the sense of being alone on a scary planet, fighting giant creatures, hoping you find power-ups to help you defeat them faster. Feeling a bit uneasy when exploring new areas, being afraid of certain types of enemies. This is what Metroid is all about. It isn't a game where you feel powerful and where meeting enemies just means more dudes to kill. No, it is a game that you want to take slow, a game that you need to master if you ever want to hope to beat it. And well, this one ain't easy. Maybe I'm just bad, but certain bosses and sections of this game just kicked my ass. Those new Emmy robots that chase you all over the place can one-hit kill you, and they are some of the scariest things I've ever seen. This game is not for everyone. It's kind of difficult, and if you've never played a Metroid game before, you might find this one to be tough. But it is always fair. If you keep playing, and if you learn the ins and outs about the game, you can definitely beat this one. If scary, difficult games ain't your type, well, thankfully, Mario Party Superstars also came out during that month. And wow do I like this game. Look, I'm not gonna hide, I'm old and I grew up playing the N64 Mario Party games, meaning they will always have a special place in my heart, which is why I'm super happy that most of the content in Superstars comes from these old school games. The classic boards are back and they look better than ever. The classic minigames like Bumper Balls, Crazy Cutters, Mushroom Mix-Up are all back and they play perfectly. Every game mode is fun and fine-tuned, and heck, the skeleton key is back. That alone is enough for me to instantly go and buy the game. It doesn't matter if you started playing Mario Party with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or even 10. Superstars guarantee that the best minigames from every single entry are going to be there. Oh, and remember that weird online update Nintendo added to Super Mario Party earlier this year? Well, guess what? It definitely was a test for that new game. Cause yes, Mario Party Superstars is fully playable online! Let's freaking go! The new Age of Calamity DLC came out near the end of the month. And well, it was very fun, and the new story missions are actually quite good. Obviously, it's more of the same, meaning that if you love the game like me, you'll love the DLC. But if you found the game to just be okay, well, the DLC is just gonna be okay, you feel me? The final character for Smash Ultimate was finally revealed, and it's none other than Sora from the Kingdom Hearts series. Okay, I wasn't expecting this to be a thing, but here we are. That's pretty awesome. Remember that Advance Wars 1+2 remake that was revealed during E3 a while back? Well, apparently it now needs a bit more work before it's actually ready, so it will now be ready in spring of 2022. Last but not least, an Animal Crossing Direct happened and showed a bit more gameplay and tweaks, and also revealed a new paid DLC called Happy Home Paradise. But hey, if you don't want to spend money for that DLC, well, it's going to be included in that new Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack membership thingy. So that's kinda neat. What isn't as neat is that Nintendo finally revealed the price for the expansion pack membership. Excuse me? $50? But the original membership was $20! This is a bit steep, and this wasn't received very well. I mean, it's more than double the price. And for what? A couple N64 games and Animal Crossing? The original $20 tier was actually great value, as you receive a bunch of NES and SNES games, and well, it allowed you to play online with your friends. But I mean, if you're now gonna charge me $50 a year for that, you're going to need more than N64 games to keep me interested. On the other hand, I do have to admit that the base selection of games is actually very solid. It features the classics, like Mario 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time, as well as fun multiplayer games like Mario Kart and Mario Tennis. Star Fox 64 is also there, and it's a fun game, just like Yoshi's Story. Winback, Dr. Mario 64, and Sin and Punishment are fine picks, but I wouldn't say they are absolute classics, especially if they don't run particularly well. I do remember some articles and videos showing off some emulation glitches for Ocarina of Time, rendering the game very ugly, especially during the water temple section. I'm not a very hardcore type of guy when it comes to this, so I never actually noticed those imperfections before seeing the articles, so it didn't really bother me as much. But considering the $50 price point was already controversial, I understand why gamers expected the emulation to be flawless. Thankfully, the new Sega Genesis app ran all of its game pretty much perfectly, so there's that. Welcome to November, the month where a brand new old Pokemon game came out. It's time for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And well, these games are actually pretty cool. The new chibi art style takes time getting used to, and I know a lot of people didn't really enjoy it, but personally, I have no issues whatsoever. I mean, I grew up playing this, so yeah, this looks pretty good. The game is very standard. I mean, you go around fighting Pokemon, catching them, collecting badges, all of this to become the very best like no one ever was. I enjoyed my time with the remake, even though it is not as polished as, let's say, Pokemon Sword. It was still everything I was expecting from the game, so yeah, good stuff. GTA, the trilogy, also came out during that month, and well, it f***ing sucked. They call it the Definitive Edition, But does any of this scream Definitive Edition? When it was first launched, it was a buggy mess, it was super laggy and featured some of the scariest glitches ever. Like, is that a freaking face I see on that wall? This is unacceptable, especially considering these games are super old and used to run on a PS2. The port was obviously botched and rushed, and well, it's a damn shame because I was really looking forward to experiencing these games on the go on my brand new Nintendo Switch OLED. Thankfully, a lot of those old glitches are now patched, but still, at the time this was released, this was just unacceptable. Ho ho ho! December is here, and here's your first gift under the Christmas tree. A brand new Big Brain Academy game! For some reason, I never really got into that franchise back on the DS, but I did decide to pick that new game up, and well, it's actually pretty fun. There's a bunch of classic brain training activities, but now you can actually go online and play against other players, proving to the world that you have the biggest brain. Turning those brain exercises into competitive minigames is actually a brilliant idea. I used to play that game every single day during the first few months it came out, just to see how better I could get at it. The original Paper Mario game was added to the N64 lineup of games, and well, I love this game to death, so of course I had to play it another time. Sadly, just like Ocarina of Time, the game had poor emulation and it often crashed. But you know what? This one was even worse, cause some of the crashes actually erased entire save files, forcing players to start from the beginning. Welcome to 2022, aka the future, and well, it's finally time for us to play the brand new Pokemon game, Legends Arceus. You don't know how much I had been waiting for this game, and it's finally out now. I'm pretty sure I spent the entire day playing this game when it first came out. It is so addictive. Basically, you run around in the wild and you observe and catch as many Pokemons as you can. You'll also be collecting materials in order to craft new Pokeballs, allowing you to catch even more Pokemons. Some characters will give out quests, which typically involve catching certain Pokemon types, so you'll go back to the wild and catch even more. Eventually, you will unlock new areas and you will visit them to, you guessed it, catch more Pokemons. I don't know how, but this game is like crack to me. It had so much to do, and the potential to just get lost and discover new things is infinite. Even if I decided to just set myself a clear objective, there always was something else that would draw my attention and get me lost for hours. Obviously, the game still features classic Pokemon battles and trainer fights, but the emphasis is really on exploring the large areas and catching every single Pokemon you encounter. And I guess that's why I enjoyed that one so much. This new style of gameplay is just super appealing to me, and well, I definitely want to see more of this in the future. February is here, and I'ma let you know right away, I didn't buy a single game during that month. I was still playing Legends Arceus over and over again. Well, you know what? I probably took a break on the 9th to watch the brand new Nintendo Direct. It started off with the reveal of a brand new Fire Emblem Warriors game called Three Hopes. And well, nice. Obviously, I didn't really get into the first Fire Emblem Warriors game, but this one looks different enough to get me quite interested. Some game footage was shown for Advance Wars 1+2, and well, it actually looks really good. I never beat those games on GBA, so I will definitely try to do it with the remake that will come out on April 8th. A brand new Mario Strikers game was also unveiled during that direct, and well, I do remember both the GameCube and the Wii games to be pretty fun, so I'll grab this one for sure. More gameplay of Splatoon 3 was also shown, this time focusing on the Salmon Run game mode. And well, the new big bosses do look spooky, so I can't wait to try it, as this was one of my favorite game modes added to Splatoon 2. More detail was given about that brand new Kirby game, and well, you can turn into a car now. Kirby and the Forgotten Land will launch on March 25, so the wait will not be that long anymore. A Portal collection was also unveiled for the Switch, coming out later this year, and as these games are just perfect, I'm glad to see them being ported to the Switch. I wasn't expecting a sequel to Wii Sports to be announced during the Direct though, but yeah, it happened. Nintendo Switch Sports was unveiled, and it actually looks kinda cool. A couple new sports were revealed, such as soccer and badminton, but it also features the classics like tennis and bowling. If you thought last year's Metroid Dread was too difficult, well, Nintendo also revealed a free update coming out soon that will add a rookie mode, making the game easier and more accessible. But if you're a hardcore gamer and you thought it was way too easy, well, they are also adding a brand new Dread mode that promises to make the game even more difficult. Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings were also revealed and released the same day, so rejoice every single one of you that love these games. One of the most unexpected trailers came out right after this, and well, yup, this is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it does feature new racetracks. That's right, 5 years after the original release of this game, Nintendo decided out of the blue to actually double the amount of racetracks by announcing a brand new paid DLC called the Booster Course Pass. Okay, not gonna lie, this drove me completely nuts. I mean, I love Mario Kart, so the idea of being able to have new racetracks 5 years after the game's release is just insane. This DLC will be out in 6 different waves, with everything supposed to be out by the end of next year. Oh, and guess what? If you pay for the expansion pack membership, these racetracks are included! Okay, now the $50 price tag is starting to make way more sense to me. Finally, the direct ended with the reveal of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And well, yay! Once I finish the first 2 games in about 10 years, I'll definitely play that one. This direct was insanely good, and well, it showed us that Nintendo wasn't messing around with the Nintendo Switch. They were going to keep supporting it for a few more years, and that made me quite happy. But you know what? The month wasn't over yet, because the Pokemon YouTube channel actually released a teaser for an upcoming Pokemon game. It looks like it takes place in a giant open world. Oh my gosh, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet! Okay, this is truly epic, especially as I'm currently getting back into Pokemon. I'm pretty hyped for this one. All in all, the 5th year was actually a good one, with games like Pokemon Snap, Metroid Dread, Mario Party, and Pokemon Legends Arceus. But it wasn't the best we've seen, and there were definitely too many broken remakes released that year. Hopefully, the upcoming stuff will be a bit better next year. Join me next time as we'll explore what the Nintendo Switch accomplished for its 6th birthday. Thanks a lot for watching.